Hello students, welcome to EPG Parshala. I am Dr. Savita. Today we are going to discuss about the modules River Systems of India from the paper Tourism Products of India. After completing this module, students will be able to understand the drainage pattern of India, understand the river systems and the rivers of India, and know about the rivers and tourism development. Rivers are a vital resource base for any nation. River banks also act as the cradle of civilization. Tiber, Nile, Tigris, Indus and Gangas are some of the very important rivers in the world, which have immensely contributed to the growth of civilization and supported the mankind. Rivers of India has been illustrated in the sacred Vedic literature. These river networks act as key contributors to the economic, socio-cultural, environmental and political fabric of the country in various ways. The rivers, while flowing through vibrant ecological and cultural landscape of India, also instill the feeling of national integrity and a sense of responsibility to protect our natural resources. Rivers also support our life through various ways, for example, irrigation, hydroelectric projects, drinking water schemes, etc. Rivers also offer a plethora of economic opportunities. Many riverside cities, townships are popular pilgrimage centers. Many rivers and river banks attract large number of tourists. Exploitation of rivers resulted in an impending crisis of water scarcity, flash flood, presence of high content of metal and bacteria, etc. Rivers are considered as goddess and sacred, but intimidation with nature also threatens microorganism to human being. It is very important to protect our river, which are also the lifeline of our nation. The recent initiative of government to declare the river with the equal status of human beings is considered to be a bold decision to protect our rivers from degradation. Drainage pattern. According to Majid Hussain, drainage pattern is a geometric arrangement of streams in a region. It is determined by slope, rock resistance, weathering and erosion, landscape, hydrology, etc. It is interesting to see that streams and tributaries form a particular pattern that creates a particular shape. The following shapes are antecedent rivers. Ancient rivers are called antecedent rivers, which existed before the upheaval of Himalayas. These rivers didn't change the course even after the major tectonic shift. For example, Ganga, Indus, Arun, Tista, Brahmaputra, etc. Consequent pattern. Rivers following through the original slope of geologic beds are called as consequent rivers. The slope determines the course of the river. Subsequent pattern. These rivers develop a drainage pattern that is changed, modified from its original course due to erosion in the underlying non-resistance rock. The streams develop their valley along the regional fault or less resistant rocks, Godavari, Krishna, etc. are examples of subsequent rivers. Superimposed pattern. These are rivers established to cover the rocks, but later the rock cover is moved due to erosion and river is freed from the channel it existed. Damodar, Subarnarekha, Chambal, etc. are example. Dendritic pattern. This pattern is the most common pattern of rivers formed. Several streams join together into the tributaries of the main river. It resembles a tree. It develops a terrain with the uniform lithology. Trellis pattern. Small streams flow parallel and from the main river. The steep slopes force the streams to flow straight with few tributaries. For example, streams originate at Ladakh range. Barked pattern. The confluence of a tributary intends to go upstream, not downstream in barked pattern. For example, Jhelum at Muzaffarabad. Rectangular pattern. This pattern features right-angled blend and right-angled junctions. Radial patterns. Centripetal, outflowing rivers from a central point. For example, rivers originating from Amarkanda, Narmada, Mahanadi and Son are examples. Braided pattern are formed by a network of interconnected channels with shallow streams. It is being supported by the alluvial materials. Annular pattern. Streams follow curving pattern prior to join the main stream. It can be explained as the streams drain from a dome type structure or basin where erosion has exposed rhyming sedimentary strata. For example, upper part of Shigar. River system. Rivers can be classified on basis of catchment area. A major river is having a catchment area of 20,000 square kilometer or above. Catchment area with 2,000 to 20,000 square kilometer is called medium river, and river with less than catchment area of 2,000 square kilometer is called a minor river. In India, we have 14 major rivers, 44 medium rivers and a large number of small rivers. Based on the origin, we can classify the Indian river system broadly into two categories: Himalayan rivers and peninsular rivers. Originate in the slopes of Himalaya mountains, and Tibetan plateau flows through India are included in the former, whereas the river originates at Vindhya Hills, Satputra Hills, Western Ghat and other hill ranges are included in peninsular rivers. Himalayan rivers are perennial rivers which have water all through the year, whereas the peninsular rivers depends on rains. 77% of rivers flowing toward east direction and join the Bay of Bengal, and 23 of the drainage is toward the Arabian Sea. In general, river systems are classified as Indus river system, Ganga, Brahmaputra, Meghalaya river system, the peninsular rivers. Himalayan rivers: Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra. Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra are the three main rivers originating in Himalaya, which are also treated as Himalayan rivers. Himalayan rivers deepened its original course while the mountain upheaval take place. These deep gorges provide that Himalayan rivers are older than other rivers. Pascoe and Pilgrim in 1919 proposed a theory Indo-Brahma flowed through the entire subcontinent from east, that is Assam, to west Punjab, and emptied its water in Gulf of Sindh near Tower, Punjab during Miocene period. Successive upheavals of Himalaya due to tectonic shift resulted in uplifting of Tibetan plateau. This is also blocked the flow of rivers and diverted in gradual course of time. This theory was not accepted by many scholars. Indus. Indus originates from Bukhar to glacier of Mount Kailash. It drains largest number of glaciers of Himalaya. In Tibet, China, it is called Singi Khamban, means lion's mouth. It enters in India at Ladakh. Other streams join in its course to Arabian Sea to complete a distance of 2880 km, in which 709 km it passes through India. Main tributaries of Indus at Himalayan ranges are Shyok, Gilgit, Shigar, Janskar and Hanal. It has a river basin of 3,21,289 square kilometer river basin in India. Kabul River join at Attock. The Indus Water Treaty between India and Pakistan is a mutual agreement to share the Indus water resources. This agreement further classify Satluj, Beas and Ravi as the east flowing rivers and Indus, Jhelum and Chenab as the west flowing. It describes the use of water resources for domestic, non-consumptive use, etc. Tributaries. Jhelum rises at Verinag at the slope of Pir Panjal range and flows through the city of Srinagar. The main tributaries of Jhelum are Lidar, Sindh and Keshanganga. River Lidar is originated at Chandanwadi Glacier and merged with Jhelum at Anantnag. River Kishanganga originates near Somamarg and river Sindh originates at Machoi Glacier at an elevation of 4800 meter east of Amarnath Caves. Chenab rises from Rakas Lake in Tibet. It is known as Chandrabhaga in Himachal Pradesh. In its course, it flows through the Panji Valley and enters in Pakistan, where it merges with river Jhelum at Trimu in Pakistan. Ravi. It originates in the Himalayas at the Multan Tehsil of Kangra district. It flows through Barabangal, Barabansu and Chamba district. Two major tributaries of this river is Budhil and Mai. The Budhil rises at Manimahesh, Kailash peak and Manimahesh lake, which is an important Hindu pilgrimage site. It drains between the area of Dholadar ranges and Pir Panjal ranges. Ravi is the smallest of the 5 other rivers of Indus river system. Beas. The river rises in the Himalayas. Beas Kund, altitude 4361 meter near Rohtang Pass in central Himachal Pradesh. It flows through Himachal Pradesh and Punjab. Main tributaries of this river are Parbati, Harla, Sanji and Tirthan. Satluj. It is the longest of the 5 rivers under Indus river system. It originates from Rakas lake, which is connected to the Mansarovar lake and flow through Tibet. It is the easternmost tributary of Indus. This river flows below the base of Shimla and enters in Punjab. It is called as Lagoon Jangbo or Elephant Spring. Baspa and Spiti are the 2 main tributaries of Satluj. The following table indicates the Indus river system in a nutshell. Ganga. River Ganga is the heritage river of India. The plains created river Ganga and Yamuna in the states of Uttarakhand, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand and West Bengal is one the best fertile land in the world. Ganga originates as Bhagirathi from Gangotri glaciers at an elevation of 7010 meters. In its course, it cuts through the Himalayan mountains, creates spectacular gorges. It meets river Alaknanda at Dioprang. At Haridwar, river enter into the Doon valley. Thereafter, it flows over the slope terrain. Major tributaries of river Alaknanda are Pindar, Mandakini, Nandakini and Dholiganga. Main tributary of river Bhagirathi is Bhiling. Ganga river system is constituted by river Yamuna and its territories, Kali river and its tributaries, the Gandhara river system, the Gandak river system, the Kosi river system. River Yamuna, the largest tributary of river Ganga. It rises at Yamunetri glacier base of Bandarpunj peak in the main Himalayan range. The gradient is higher at the upper track, which also result in deep gorges, enters into Doon valley through the Mussoorie ridge at Kalsi. It flows through Uttarakhand, Haryana, Delhi at Allahabad. It merges with the river Gangas. Main tributaries of river Yamuna are river Tons, river Algar, river Giri, river Bata, river Asanrao. Peninsular tributaries join river Yamuna include Chambal, originate at the southern Malwa plateau and flows in a northeast direction through the borders of Rajasthan and Meghalaya Pradesh, then enters in Uttar Pradesh and finally merges with Yamuna. Betwa, also known as Betravati, it originates at Vindhyan range in Madhya Pradesh. It enters at Orcha in Uttar Pradesh and finally merges with Yamuna. Ken. It originates at the northwest slopes of Barnar ranges in Madhya Pradesh and merges with the river Yamuna at Bandha in Uttar Pradesh. It is one of the most important river of Bundelkhand region. There is an active proposal to link Betava river and Ken river in order to supply water at drought-prone areas of Bundelkhand. Son river originates at Amarkantak region in Madhya Pradesh, flows through UP, cuts through the Kemur ranges in Bihar and merges with the river Ganga near Patna. It has a high gradient at the beginning and during rainy season. It becomes shallow and remains as a thin stream during summers. Son River has a very wide channel at Dehri on Son. Two major tributaries of Son are Rihand and Koil. Other tributaries of river Gangas. Ramganga originates at lower Himalayan slope of Uttarakhand. It flows through the Doon Valley, through the Jim Corbett National Park near Nainital. It enters into plain. It joins Ganga near Kanauj in Uttar Pradesh. Ganga Dussehra is celebrated at Chhabri village in Bareilly in the month of October or November. Ghagra. It rises in Nepal Himalayas. It is the longest tributary of the Gandak basin. The main spring of this river originates at Tibet. In India, it is called as Sarju. On its banks, Ayodhya is situated. The river joins Ganga at Doriganj in Bihar. It is the largest tributary of Ganga in terms of the volume of water it drains. The main tributaries of Gandhara are Sarda and Rapti. Gomti. According to Hindu mythology, Gomti is believed to be the daughter of sage Vashisht. It originates from Gomat Tal in northern Uttar Pradesh. Gandaki. It is known as Narayani in Nepal and Gandak in India. The confluence of rivers Gandaki, Panchnath and Sohna is known as Triveni. It lies between Kosi rivers in the east and Gandhara in the west. Gandaki meets river Ganges at Sonpur, Burhi Gandak or Old Gandak. It originates near Indo-Nepal border, flows parallel to Gandak, joins Ganga near Khangaria in Bihar. Mahananda rise in West Bengal. It joins river Ganga at Jharkhand, West Bengal border. Kosi river. It is also called as Saptakosi because of its upper tributaries. River Tamur. It is the eastern tributary of river Kosi, originated at Kanchenjunga. Arun. It rises at the Trans-Himalayan range. Sankosi. It originates at southern Tibet. Its tributaries are Dhutkosi, Bhutekosi and Botekosi and Indravati Kosi. Tamba Kosi and Indravati Kosi. Indravati, it drains at the eastern side of Kathmandu. Bhotekosi originates from Choyu and Gori Shankar massif. Dhutkosi drains from the snow melt area of Mount Everest. Barren rises at the Barren Glacier at the base of Makalu. Koshi River joins river Ganga at Kursela at Kathiar. Brahmaputra. It rises at Tibet, flows east into the southern Tibet, enters in India as Dihang. It flows through 1700 km in China near Lutse, Dejong. It opens up a navigable channel for about 640 km further, a series of rapids. It enters into Great Loop into the southwest of Arunachal Pradesh. 750 km it flows through Assam. The downstream of Dyabang, Lohit and Dihang is known as Brahmaputra. Brahmaputra river system include Teesta river, rises from Jammu Glacier on the eastern side of Kanchenjunga. Main tributaries are Lichang, Rangit and Lonak. Torsa. It enters Arunachal Pradesh from Bhutan. Ladakh drains a part of western Bhutan. Manas, part of Bhutan and Arunachal Pradesh, flows through Assam before it joins Brahmaputra. Kimang rises from Kangtu group of peaks. Sabansiri, it is also known as Gold River, flows through the tropical forest of Arunachal Pradesh and merger with Brahmaputra at Majuli in Assam. In its total stretch, 170 km is in Tibetan territory, 250 km in eastern Himalayas and 86 km in Assam. Peninsular rivers. Peninsular rivers are much older than Himalayan rivers. Most of these rivers are non-perennial and mainly depend on rains. Rivers are characterized by broad valleys and low gradient. The east flowing rivers from deltas during its course to sea, whereas most of the west flowing rivers sea or form estuaries. The source of peninsular rivers include Western Ghats, Aravallis, Vindhya and Satputra ranges. Narmada. River Narmada is the third longest river of the peninsular rivers and the longest west flowing river. It originates at Narmada Kund in Amarkandak, flows through the rift valley of Vindhya and Satpura ranges, covering a long distance in Madhya Pradesh and finally merges at Arabian Sea. It acts as the lifeline of three states, that is Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Gujarat. Ptolemy and Periplus mentioned this river in their writings. It is one of the most holy rivers, treated with great reverence by Hindus. Om, Kareshwar, Maheshwar are located on the banks of river Narmada. Popular saying is Narmada ke Kankar Utte Shankar, means pebble stones of Narmada gets a personified form of Shiva. Panchmari is a popular hill station visited by large number of tourists in the highest point of Narmada basin. Sardar Sarovar Dam project, a series of small and big dams in Narmada aimed to provide water supply to domestic and industrial purposes. Mahanadi. Mahanadi means the great river. It rises at the extension of eastern Ghats. Dhamtari district of Chhattisgarh, enters in Odisha and merges with Bay of Bengal near Paradip. It has a length of 851 km. It is bounded by the Central India Hills on the north, Eastern Ghats on the south and East and Maikala range on the west. Based on water potential and flood producing capacity, this river occupies second position in the peninsular rivers. Main tributaries of the river are Sionath, Hasyo, Mand, Eb, Ong, Tel and the Jong. Godavari. The Godavari river basin mainly covers Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh and small share of Madhya Pradesh and Odisha. The basin is bounded by the Satmala Hills on the north, Ajanta Range and the Mahadev Hills on the southeast by Eastern Ghat and west by Western Ghat. It rises near Nasik in Maharashtra at an elevation of 1067 meter. The total length of this river is 1465 kilometer. Main tributaries of Godavari are Pravara, Vardha, Mulla, Venganga, Penganga, Pranhita, Manjira, Indravati and Sabri. The western edge of the river basin gets abundant rainfall during monsoons as the springs originates from the slope of Western Ghat at an elevation range from 400 meters to 2500 meters. It creates a delta approximately with a width of 170 kilometers while merging at Bay of Bengal. Tapi River. Tapi River, also known as Tapti, is a river of central India. The river basin extends over Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Gujarat. It is bounded by Satpura ranges on the north, Mahadev Hills on the east and Ajanta ranges at Satmala Hills on the south and Arabian Sea on the west. Tapi is the second largest west flowing river in the peninsula. It rises in Multai Reserve Forest in Betul, district of Madhya Pradesh at an elevation of 702 meters. The total length of the river is 724 kilometers. There are 14 major tributaries, out of which 4 on the right bank and 10 on the left bank. Purna, Girna, Gomai, Panjara are some of the important tributaries. Krishna. The Krishna basin lies in Maharashtra, Karnataka, Maharashtra. Krishna river is bounded by Balaghat ranges on the north, Eastern Ghat on the south and the east and west Ghats on the west. The source of the river is at elevation of 1337 meter near of Mahabaleshwar. In Western Ghat, the total length of the river is 1400 kilometer. Kaveri. River Kaveri originates at Talakaveri, Korang Hills of Karnataka. It is also called as Dakshin Ganga. The river water is the main source of drinking water and irrigation source for Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. The drainage basin was shared among the former states and Kerala and Pondicherry. It is bounded by Western Ghat on west, Eastern Ghat on the east, Krishna basin and Pannar basin on north. The total length of the river is 804 km. The river empties in Bay of Bengal. The tributaries of Kaveri are Bhuvani, Kabani, Swarnavati, Himavati, Harangi and Shimsha. At Shivana Samudra, the river split into two branches and joins at Hojenkal after a number of rapids and series of waterfalls. Hojenkal waterfall attracts large number of tourists. The Kaveri Delta begins after the river crossed Trichupalli. The river creates Srirangam Island and its course. The great Chola king constructed Anikat to use the river water for irrigation purposes in the delta of Kaveri. River Kaveri is the major irrigation source for the farmers of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. This river highly depends on southwestern monsoon and due to poor fall. In the last couple of years, in the upper streams, farmers face severe crisis due to drought and lack of irrigation facilities. Other rivers, Barak, it covers an area of 52,000 square meter. River Barak originate at the border of Nagaland and Manipur, flows westward and turn south till it reaches Manipur. It enters in South Assam, further flows toward Bangladesh. It has a length of 525 km. Subarna Rekha. Subarna Rekha means the streak of the gold. Gold was mined near the origin point and the name was given due this connection. The source of river Subarna Rekha is Piska near Ranchi. During its course, it flows through Jharkhand, West Bengal and Odisha. The total length it traverses is 395 km. It is a rain-fed river. The mouth of the river is near Kirtania Port, Orissa. Brahmani, Betarni river. Mahamani is a seasonal river. The source of the river is near Rourkela and with the confluence of river Koil and Sangh. The head river are originated near Ranchi in Jharkhand. Penar. It is an east flowing river, originates at Chikabellapur in Karnataka, flows through Andhra Pradesh and merges with Bay of Bengal at the end. Penar drains at the northern part of Kolar Plateau. The mouth of the river at Bay of Bengal creates a large wetland area up to a width of 7 km. The lagoon created by this river is called as Isakapoli, Mahi, Dadar. It is a west flowing river, rises at Madhya Pradesh, flows through Rajasthan and Gujarat in course and merge with Arabian Sea. The length of the river is approximately 580 km. It is popularly called as Mahisagar and also considered as a sacred river by large number of people. Sabarmati. It is a west flowing river originate at the Aravalli Hills in Rajasthan. It flows a distance of 371 km in southwestern direction and empties in Gulf of Cambay. Mahatma Gandhi, father of our nation, established his ashram on the banks of Sabarmati river in Ahmedabad. The Sabarmati river front project at Ahmedabad is an example of riverfront development. Luni. It originates at Ajmer, Aravalli ranges of Rajasthan, flows through the Marwar region and drains out at Kutch. The length of the river is 495 km. At the source, it is known as Sagarmati. Maharaja Jaswant Singh constructed the artificial lake Jaswant Sagar in order to serve the water to the people of the region. Vaigai. The source of Vaigai river is Western Ghat. It flows through the eastern part of Tamil Nadu such as Kambam Valley, Madurai and finally empties at Bay of Bengal. After river Kaveri, this river serves a very important role for the farmer of Tamil Nadu in terms of drinking water and irrigation. Rivers, riverfront and tourism. Rivers act as a tourism resource and people are attracted to riverbanks mainly religious purposes, but adventure tourism and leisure activities are promoted in a large way at many rivers. The high gradient river and rapids attract adventure tourists to take up rafting activities. Boat cruises are a big attraction in several rivers. River banks are also the venues for large gatherings of the world such as Kumbh Mela, held at once in 12 years on the bank of River Ganga, Haridwar and Allahabad, Godavari and Shipra, that is Ujjain. Several cities came up along the river banks, and those cities emerged as an important pilgrimage centers or the cities of commercial importance. Indus, Sindhu Valley civilization and its development draw the attention of people of the west of South Asia, India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Afghanistan and Pakistan, or Saptha Sindhava, Aryavartha, Ganga Brahmaputra, Meghna river system played a key role as the life sport of millions of people in different ways. Patliputra, the confluence of Son Ganga, was the capital chosen by Magadha kings to strengthen their kingdom during the period of Lord Buddha. Important cities located on the prominent rivers of India are mentioned below. Rivers and major issues. Exploitation of rivers created serious threat to our environment, although climate change and related issues are part of that. Illegal encroachments along river banks and construction of commercial as well as residential building, shrinking the river banks, and several streams have already been disappeared. This also causes flash floods and waterlogging during rainy season. Water pollution is another major issue which threatens even the existence of all living creatures. The presence of bacteria that are harmful to human beings and other creatures are also found in many rivers. Government and private agencies have been working for the improvement of water quality of rivers. Summary. Rivers are treated with great reverence in India. Almost all rivers in India present the mythical character or associate with the tradition and belief system. Rivers are perceived as life and every stage of human life, and there are lot of emotional and religious attachments. The river systems are the economic arteries of our nation, uniting force of diverse cultures and part of social life. The river systems also have a great influence on our day-to-day life as the source of drinking water, irrigation and energy. Rivers play a vital role. Study on rivers help us to understand the ecological systems, biodiversity, geographical features and social economic connections and religious importance, etc. Rivers also play key role in the tourism development of India. River cruises, adventure programs, religious gatherings and melas such as Kumbh Mela, Pushkaralu, etc. attract lot of tourism. As an example, boating in river Ganga in the early morning hour is part of tour itineraries. This is with an intention to provide the riverfront view of the holy city of Varanasi with the golden ray of morning sunfall on the endless ghats and rising towers of temples and traditional buildings. This boating gives a unique experience to the visitor as they immerse themselves to listen to the greatness of the city, its history, religious and spiritual importance. Classical music, yoga, arti, ritual by pilgrim, cremations, etc., describe the cultural feature of India and its deep connection with the river Ganga. Similarly, every river in India carries its legacy, cultural importance and ecological features, be it Narmada or Brahmaputra. Thank you.